right now on the Red Carpet.
The key to living longer is embedding yourself in life.
We're celebrating the life of Hollywood icon William Shatner. From the daring and dashing Captain Kirk.
Risk is our business. That's what the Starship is all about.
To a no-nonsense police sergeant on T.J. Hooker.
One of my better moves.
To his Emmy-winning turn as Denny Crane on Boston Legal.
I'm a legend.
Plus, Shatner on his early years before stardom.
I was an actor on stage when I was 6 years old.
Overcoming some of life's hardships.
I was getting a divorce. I had 3 children.
I don't think that most people know that you were once arrested.
Almost arrested.
And voyaging into space for real.
No description can equal this.
Also, Shatner on giving back, from sharing his love of horses with deserving children to this.
Is this true? You once sold one of your own kidney stones for charity?
We'll boldly go through all of it now in On the Red Carpet Icons, William Shatner.
Hi everyone and welcome to On the Red Carpet Icons. We're celebrating William Shatner, who joins us now. Thank you for being here for one.
Well, it's a pleasure. We've known each other over the years. Pleasure to be in your company.
Well, I'm glad to have you.
And I don't live too far away.
That's true. Star Trek had 79 episodes, but it almost didn't happen, right? Because there was a pilot with Jeffrey Hunter that didn't get picked up, and then along comes William Shatner and bang, it's a series?
Yeah, that's what happened. So I'm in New York, and Roddenberry calls me and says, we've made this pilot, but they're not going to buy it. They want us to recast it. The most unusual thing, I'd never heard of it before, I've never heard of it since, said, we like the idea, but we don't like the cast. And we don't like the story. Rewrite it, can't recast it. So they recast everybody but Leonard, who continued to play Spock, but had perfected his performance. You know, what is unknown is the future. We have no idea what the next moment is going to portend. You don't know what I'm going to say, and the sad fact is I don't know what I'm going to say. So everything trembles in anticipation, and we don't know what's going to happen. And so here I was in New York, just out of a job, and they called me, come to Hollywood and see if you'd like to be in this thing. And I thought it was magical. Science fiction is magical. It tells you what's going to happen in the future. So I enjoyed being in it. And I did the pilot, and it sold.
I've lost a man. I want to know what killed him.
Is there a Star Trek moment that makes you especially happy that you were a part of over those years?
Yes, the beauty of so many of the shows and the excellence of the writing and all those friends of mine who were 3 years in the making, and doing a series is an enormous human experience. It's a very intimate thing doing a series.
What was your goal in 1966? when
Survival.
the show- Really?
I was getting a divorce. I had 3 children. They paid us, by normal standards of somebody working at a blue-collar job. You got that kind of money? What are you talking about? But being well-known or getting well-known is expensive. So there's a lot of money spent on keeping up with the Joneses, if you will. And then the show was over, and I think about 2 years later, the union said, wait a minute, you're playing these segments again and again, and the actors and nobody else gets paid. We want to get paid. And so the idea of syndication became a fact, and it was 2 years after the cancellation of the Star Trek I was on.
Set course for Delta Vega.
Here's something that I love knowing about you. Before all the craziness of Star Trek took over, you were doing Shakespeare, and as a young man, you were on Broadway.
Yeah.
What was it like to be that young and be a star on
I was
Broadway?
an actor on stage when I was 6 years old. I did radio at the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation in Montreal. I did Montreal plays. When I was at university, I did the musicals. The guy that did my last amateur play, Bruce Raymond. Interesting, I should remember that name. I can't remember anything else. Bruce Raymond said to me, I'm going to Ottawa to produce the only Canadian professional theater. We have a company, we work out of a high school's theater, and we'll pay you $40, $50 a week, which is barely enough to eat on, let alone pay the rent. And so I went with them. Ultimately went to New York, and I was on Broadway, and essentially I never left New York.
You go back to Broadway in 2012 and again in 2014.
Yeah.
What brought you back that you needed to be on that live stage?
George. I had a one-man show on Broadway. I did a one-man show on Broadway. It's the most soul-searching, dynamic, hardest thing any actor can do, to entertain a Broadway audience for 2 hours. Okay? When I was in a play called The World of Susie Wong, it got 7 bad notices, but they had 3 months of advance sale. So if they closed the show, they'd have to give the money back. They're not going to close the show. So we had a show that was mocked as the worst play ever on Broadway and had to run it. People got up out of their seats in the middle of a scene and walked out. And one day, and I'm on stage the whole time, Susie Wong keeps wandering in and out. And one day I said, "Sit down, Susie." And the people that were on, and they sat down. I made them sit down. And then I began to talk more emphatically and more with more emphasis and more anger and saying, "Sit down." And I took 15 minutes out of the running time, and the play ran for 2 years. Now, is that magical?
It's magical.
That's why the theater has a magic of its own.
You've done something here that I want to talk about, because your love of horses and doing something for children has kept you
George,
connected.
I have done something, again, blundered into it. I'm competing on horses. So 3 or 4 women are doing a horse show, and they're benefiting a hospital. And they say to me, "This is the last year, we're so tired, so much work, we're gonna quit this, we're gonna stop this horse show." Now, stop a horse show in Los Angeles, you can't do that. I step outside, and there's a beautiful 6-year-old girl, a thalidomide baby, 1 leg, 1 arm. She's holding the reins in her toes, beautiful face, and she's mounted on a horse. I thought, I gotta do something about that. How tough can it be to run a horse show? Well, I found out. That was 35 years ago. So for 35 years, I've been talking to people that I work with, hire me. "Hey, would you give me some money for it's called the Hollywood Charity Horse Show." We've raised $400,000 or $500,000 a year for 35 years. That's almost $10, $15 million for children and for veterans whose symptoms, both emotionally and physically, echo the child's.
Up next, which character William Shatner says is probably the role of a lifetime, and it's not Captain Kirk.
The role of a lifetime is an interesting phrase.
Also, which Star Trek movie Shatner thinks is the best, and the acting lesson he learned from a lizard.
And you know, a lizard is tasting its environment.
Plus, an emotional look at the inspiration for his next album.
My wife keeps saying, "What'll I do when you die? What am I going to do?"
Want more celebrity interviews? Check out On the Red Carpet on YouTube and your other favorite social sites.
Welcome back to On the Red Carpet Icons. We're celebrating William Shatner, but I want you to tell me about William Shatner, the actor, as a child. Did you know at 6 you were good?
I was in the country at a camp, and they were writing a play, and for some reason they wrote me in as a character. As a kid, it was during the Nazi time. They wrote a speech for me leaving my home and leaving my dog, played by another camper. I gotta go, and I don't know where I'll be. And I played this camper, this guy, leaving because the Nazis were coming. And when the curtain went down and then went back up, people were crying. My God, I'm made people cry. And then later, my father's, my boy Bill, getting love from my father, sealed my fate. And the crazy thing is, I've never done anything else. I tried to become a waiter at a Orange Crush thing, and I stumbled and fell and poured Orange Crush all over the lap of the first person. I quit, or I was fired. And I never did anything else.
So you made the right decision, but then since that time, you made all these other decisions that sometimes were pretty bold. I love the fact that you created a recording career for yourself and took on classic songs by some major names like the Beatles or Bob Dylan. I personally enjoyed listening to the Bohemian Rhapsody you did.
Did you really?
Yes.
The Bohemian Rhapsody is such a mysterious, weird song.
Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me.
I had, as an actor, because I approached those songs as an actor. So what is the Bohemian, what is, my gun down, mama, all kinds of weird words. You have to tie it together. So I did that. I have done something now that may be the best album I've ever put out. This next album, which I think will be called Things I Have Loved. So I approached Brad Paisley, who is a friend of mine, and Brad and his band put together the music. I did a one-man show, as I told you, on Broadway, and then I toured it, and I filmed the afternoon and evening performance, and I put it down on tape and left it. All these years I've had it. I've done nothing with it. I've got it. And WilliamShatner.com is a great place to go to find out about these incredible things that I'm doing, and I don't understand why I'm doing them at this age. I'm on tour. What the tour consists of, we play a movie, The Wrath of Khan, which arguably is the best movie that we all made. And I come out on stage afterwards to spend an hour and a half talking about anything that interests me, I hope interests them. There's a book I'm writing now. I'm going to interview the audience, people who write in and offer an interesting story of their association with Star Trek or anything else.
I love that you tackled all the genres of television, because I watched you my entire life. I love T.J. Hooker.
I said, get the camera out of my face.
We had a premise, an old sergeant bred in the ways of the way the police used to, never mind reading your rights, get your handcuffs on. It was a good series. I enjoyed doing it.
T.J. Hooker was tough, but he also helped a lot of rookies, as I recall. And we have a show on the air now called The Rookie. I think T.J. Hooker should make an appearance on The Rookie. What do you think?
Well, it'll cost them a lot of money.
Denny Crane?
I know, I'm Chicago.
My kind of town. Always had the best sex of my life in Chicago. What about you?
Was Denny Crane on The Practice and Boston Legal what you would consider a role of a lifetime?
Probably. You know, the role of a lifetime is an interesting phrase. David E. Kelley is a genius.
Yep.
So he wrote most of the scripts, if not all of them. He got an Emmy for comedy and Emmy for a drama the same year. He's a hero of mine. One day I read in the script, the character of Denny says, Denny Crane, Denny Crane, Denny Crane, Denny Crane. About 4 or 5 times I go, how do I approach that? How do I say Denny Crane? Then I remember a lizard I had seen. And you know, a lizard is tasting its environment. It's what's the scent? It's smelling with its tongue. And I thought, that's what he's doing. Denny Crane? Denny Crane.
I'm Denny Crane.
I love that story. I also love that you won 2 Emmys for playing Denny Crane. One for The Practice, one for Boston Legal. And I think that's one of those history-making moments where you won an Emmy for playing the same role on 2 shows.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to say that because we need to celebrate.
Well, you know, it's been a long career. And between trying to be musical, I was asked to do Decca Records so many years ago, said would I do an album. I was in the middle of Star Trek. So I did classics. I did some of the speeches from classical speeches, Once More Into the Breach, Dear Friends, sort of thing, and classical songs. And it didn't do too well. And then one day, Ben Folds saw it in a garage sale, played it, and said, I'd like to work with you. And that was the beginning of doing some Ben Folds songs, and then doing albums, and writing albums along a character-driven way, futuristic, and this latest one, Things I Have Loved. One of the songs is my wife keeps saying, what'll I do when you die? What am I going to do? She's a great deal younger than I. What am I going to do when you die? I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I wrote a song about where I'll be when I die, right beside. It's
tough.
Moving.
Wow. And when you played it for her?
She cried.
I bet you did too.
I cried pretty much talking to you.
Coming up, how William Shatner almost found himself in jail.
3 times. Almost arrested.
Plus, the 94-year-old icon's secret to staying young.
That's the key to youth.
And going where no man his age has gone before.
You still marvel that back in 2021 you went up into real space? I don't think that most people would know that you were once arrested. I didn't even know that.
3 times. Almost arrested. Okay? I'm in the Midwest. I'm touring. I got to get from that city to that city, and it's 400 miles. The curtain comes down 11 o'clock. I jump in the car, and I drive through the night. And suddenly, and there's a cop behind me. The cops, I pull over, and oh my God, 100 miles an hour, that's a felony. I'm going to jail. So cop comes in, takes my license. I come into the police car. Oh my God. So he goes in, and I go to the passenger seat, and I open the door to the passenger seat. The light comes on, and he goes, "No it's Shatner." All right, go on. 3 times, 3 different policemen. No it's Shatner.
I love that you have never limited what you will do in show business. And now the world is in a place where podcasts are enormous, and you're joining that world too?
My daughter, who had breast cancer stage 4, is cured because of the luck of finding the doctor whose chemicals he invented 10 years ago were directly applied to this particular cancer. So she got through her cancer. I've had some illnesses, and I don't want to discuss it now, but I'm aware of what it's like to have the magic of medicine. Dealing with cancer and age, there is this combination between my daughter and myself that we can speak about how are you going to live longer? What's the methodology of living longer? And the methodology is not the green areas, some of the islands that they're drinking lots of olive oil. That isn't it. The key to living longer is embedding yourself in life to take advantage of every opportunity you have to mix it up, to do something unusual, to do something different. That energy energizes your cells and keeps you young. That's the key to youth.
Still ahead, William Shatner on selling his kidney stone for a record price and becoming the oldest person ever to go to space.
I am filled with the magic of the connection of all life. No description
can equal this. Weightlessness. Oh, I'm telling you. Oh my goodness me.
Star Trek is pretend space. Do you
Right.
still marvel that back in 2021 you went up into real space?
I had such a profound experience when the guy over the loudspeaker said, all right, we're going to move the gantry, and this is the God's truth. He said, anybody who wants to get off should get off now. And I thought, I think I'll... And then I said, I can't. I'm Captain Cook. So I stayed. And I looked out the window and I saw the tiny blue orb. But I am filled, and was then as well, with the magic of the connection of all life on Earth. Every plant, every insect, every human being is connected to the panoply of life.
Oh, wow. I can't believe this.
How about a few William Shatner fun facts before we end this interview? Ready?
Yeah,
You really don't like to watch your work?
I never watch my work. And when I'm directing, it's painful.
You know karate.
I know karate. I used to know karate. I'm a little stiff and sore.
And the last thing, is this true? You once sold one of your own kidney stones for charity?
I have a kidney stone on. 2 days later, I got a phone call from a gambling casino in Canada. And they said, we heard you had a kidney stone. We'd like to buy it. I said, great. I want $100,000 for my kidney stone. No. I said, $100,000. All right, I'll take 75. The cast kicked in $25,000. We gave that to Habitat for Humanity. And we built a house. And right now, there's a lovely family of 5, I believe, living in a house in New Orleans.
That says everything I need to know about you. You care. That wraps up our time at On the Red Carpet Icons. Thanks to William Shatner for joining us for one of the most interesting conversations I've had in a long time.
Wow.
Thanks for joining us here at On the Red Carpet.